Hey guys, it's Kyle. I don't know what the name of this podcast is going to be because I'm not, as you can see, currently dipping. So, sorry about that. Um, yeah, basically, I just took a break a little bit from the videos. I was going through a tough time, but after listening to tons of music and writing and regrouping, I was able to manage to make this video. Um, and it's funny. All the conspiracies that go on in the world and basically all the religions and theories and everything. We just don't really know, have an idea of a grasp what the concept is. And my brother was like, "You're not an expert on these opinions and or theories." Sorry, let me get comfortable. All right, but yeah, I don't really think you got to be an expert in who really say is an expert, because like I was trying to tell him, previously the world was thought to be flat, and it's not flat. So, but and I mean that was a fact back then. People would assume that the world was flat because that's all they knew. But we know it's round, and then it's funny how the same like issues in debate that we say is facts, one time become a fact that is a different, and also the fact that people are now trying to say the world is flat. My father, he thinks well he like I don't know if he thinks it 100% true, but he says the world is flat. So he's showing me some research and stuff. I mean, like, there's interesting points to it. I mean, you just never know. I just don't really take things at face value and, like, tell me, like, if you tell me something, I'm going to investigate myself. I've always had to learn the hard way. So, but anyway, what I'm saying is, like, things are, like, just what they are. Like I've said before in my video, where if people try to put an identity on it, and my brother always says, like, compare things, but really comparison things is really how you learn things. I mean, I can teach you anything if you, let's say you knew all about sports, and I wanted to teach you history. Well, I would teach you about the history of a franchise. Basically, like, let's say the Yankees, or like, let's say, better yet, we'll stay in New York, but like the Brooklyn Dodgers, back when Brooklyn Dodgers was the Dodgers were in Brooklyn, and now they're in LA, and so I mean, I would have to say, well, they were or are currently in LA, but we're in Brooklyn, so that's the origins behind that. Now in history, I could say that countries move and expand, like England, when we first got over here, instead of the 13 original colonies. Um, so it was, I guess it was the England. So basically I can compare that to each other and look at the prospect, like the properties, and say the differences of how you can remember that the Brooklyn Dodgers is like England, and then the United States would be like the LA Dodgers. It's still the same people, or the group of people that came here, but they just changed the name, or like but they didn't really completely change over here because Britain still exists, or England, or whatever you want to call it, the UK over there in that area. Um, but anyway, I'm just saying like how things change and move, and the world is constantly changing. If there's one thing I know, I mean, like, I used to be half the size I am now. I'm 300 pounds, 6 foot. I used to be 150 pounds, 6 foot. So I mean, and a lot of dudes that to my poor diet and medicines and side effects and stuff, and stress eating. So things become part of your nature. But basically comparing things, and Chris he pointed out, Chris King pointed out, like, labeling things has like a place, because like how would I identify certain things, and I take their opinion, like their opinion, and then their sourcing information. I mean, very their logic is just is great. So I mean, I'm more of an emotional guy. I'm trying to think more clearly and speak slower, so I'm stuttering less. So bear with me, guys. I'm just in the process of changing myself because life is ever evolving. Now, since life is ever evolving, it's like climate change, global warming, all the ideas, like, basically, like, of the world, they're ever changing. I mean, like, before, people, like, say, you can't tell me that if you drive a car and then what comes out of your exhaust is not going to hurt the environment, or that you have a radioactive uh, nuclear plant and it's not going to hurt the environment, or when they dump stuff in the oceans, and then um, all the fish are going extinct. So everything has cause and effect. So it's changing because of cause, and the effect is evolve, like evolution, involving. Now, um, I've been really paranoid lately, just kind of like uh, fearful, and I think it's just of change, because like it's how your body deals with change. So I'm ever changing my mood. I mean, I drink a lot of coffee. If I would stop that, it'd severely change. It's for the better, or maybe the coffee keeps my blood pressure at a decent rate because I have really good blood pressure. But beyond that point, I would just like to say, like, you got to be ever aware of cause and effect. So, like I've said in the previous video of choices, every choice, for there's action, there's a react, or for every action, there's a reaction. So, like when I attacked Chris and Charles, and I'm just gonna use this as an example because they're my friends, and I felt bad about it. It's like I took something out of context, and like I do that a lot when I read the Bible. I take things out of context and I put a super superior meaning. But this, you got to think, the Bible itself has evolved from different languages and loses meaning. So I mean, I still believe in God, but I feel like the Bible, even though it has a lot of truth, it could be that people evolved it, in order to fit their own beliefs at the time. Like for many who don't know, Christmas is a pagan relation, a pagan started as sorry, I'm stumbling my words here, a little tired, didn't sleep last night, um, as a pagan holiday. So finally got that out. Feels a lot better, guys. But so a pagan holiday, and so the idea around religion mostly has to do with the sun, because the sun gave sunshine for crops, and then people like the Native Americans had many. I mean, they moved around in different places, so they never really settled. And I think that'd be the best way to live if we really want to keep our environment. And I've moved a lot in my life, and you pick up and learn and take new skills and take them to new places and evolve from that. And it goes back to what you're saying, like, or what I was saying earlier. Excuse me, I'm tired. It goes back to what I was saying earlier, but basically you can take comparison of anything from what Johnny was saying, where you shouldn't put labels and compare things, but there's also a reason why things are labeled. I mean, if I was to say, hey, go pick up that cup of coffee, and I didn't label this a cup, and it's on the scooter, would you pick up the whole scooter, or would you pick up the coffee? I mean, it's like, if you don't put labels on things, it has practical meaning. So I mean, I get what they're saying. So I appreciate, like, just pointing out simple things sometimes, and in a written form, and then you read it and you say it out loud, or do whatever you do to relearn it. And it's just simple stuff like common sense. It's like some people can solve the biggest math equation. It's starting to go cold anyway. But some people can figure out all these problems, and sometimes common sense is really hard to grasp. And it's like, I feel like we're losing like a lot of common sense. Like, I don't know how to farm. I've said this before, or I don't know how to farm, or I'm not a mechanic, and I really have no practical use other than security. So sometimes I get a little scared of what's to come with my broken foot. Let's see if you can see this, guys. I got my scooter. Sorry, my room's a little messy, but I got my scooter here. So I just can't wait to get off this scooter, even though it's a blessing to have the scooter. So my grandma's friend actually bought a brand new, and she knew she was going to need one, and let me borrow it. So thank you to them. I'm going to write them a thank you note. I'm not just saying this to sound nice, but just some of the old school stuff. I think that's what, when Trump says, let's make America great again, he's talking about like the basic principles of the stuff that, like, think about what your grandma or your grandpa does: write letters to people, and they take the time to write thank you cards, and just general stuff like that. Like, it's funny how sometimes we evolve the email, but no one gets excited when they get an email. Like, no one. But when you get a letter nowadays, like, everybody's just like super stoked. Oh, my battery is going low, but So like even though things evolve, sometimes it's not for the better. But survival of the fittest is not survival of like a big strong person or the biggest survive. It's the people that can really to adapt, and that's what I've really learned in my life is people who can adapt. And like if I went to new schools, how would I adapt? I mean, I might change my clothes, I might change some of my words, my dialect, but I would find a common core that everybody can relate to, and that's going back to labeling things, and which I label humor, because I mean I used to just crack jokes and to have an open personality and just kindness. That's why I mean when I'm me and my brother have been talking on the phone, and we've been fighting a lot lately. And I mean I've been really moody ever since I started this new medication, and there's just tons of side effects. Um, and I mean I'm not sleeping, but I'm gonna sleep tonight, so I took the medicine quarterly how I'm supposed to, and let's just see. Let's see if it works. I'm pretty tired, so I know I'm gonna go to sleep. I just hope I don't sleep a lot. Um, but anyway, back to what I was saying is, um, I know I kind of run on here and just talk a lot, but I mean, I just like when you're by yourself a lot, and now my stepsister Tasha's here, so it's nice to it was nice to see her today, and then they went to go drop off the baby back, but so I know the house was going to be quiet with the baby gone. I tried to make a video earlier, and I was going to do one with Tasha where I was asking her questions, and I might post that just a little clip of it, just to kind of get you a feel like a more of like a podcast type of feel. It's more like an interview, but it just kind of it's just funny little stuff. I'm just really figuring out this whole process of basically just discovering how to move forward from just talking about the same old subject, and then it brings new ideas and new energy into the talks. And I mean that's why when people do podcasts, it's normally with other people. So I was really wanting to get my dad on here, and he's not really talking to a person. So when he does talk, I do listen. And I think he has some funny, like if not interesting. I mean, he knows how to build a house, so he's really intelligent when it comes to that. But it's just funny the stuff he tells me, like he thinks the world's flat, or the conspiracies on Bigfoot. He loves Bigfoot and UFOs and stuff. Like, I mean, he's always like Buffy the Vampire, not only because she's hot, but he likes all that mythology and the vampires and all that type of stuff. And like it's really helped my imagination as a kid. I like the movies I used to watch, and he used to show me like from like Escape from New York, or some of the karate movies he used to watch, and the action movies and stuff. And he really likes action movies, so I mean it was always fun to watch as a kid. But you realize like a lot of his action movies he likes sci-fi, so uh, sci-fi can like tell you about like evolving of technology, really like when it comes to futuristic movies. And it's just funny, like I've said this before, but I just really think the correlation of scientific like science is ever evolving. So when people say we're never really going to get a point to learning everything we can know, I don't think there is such a time, especially in 10 lifetimes, um, unless they make some super like fast computers, so. And who knows? But I think a lot of people like that watch sci-fi have a better imagination of like, and it creates these things like how Star Trek, the cell phone and stuff, and many of the inventions come from either military or sci-fi movies or sci-fi books written back in the 1890s and stuff. And it's corresponding to making your thoughts and your energy that you have inside you a reality. That energy is ever going, God's ever going. You make certain comparisons and put labels on things. We label God as like this man, and we're made in his image. But if you break it down scientifically, we're all energy. So we really are made in God's image. Of if we want to call like what is God, like energy. If you break everything down to the smallest form, we're all the same. So we're just connected more than we think. And like if we don't stop and change some of the things going on in the environment. With like Joe Rogan, they like to talk about I forget what it's called now. Now that I'm just kind of tired of thinking about it, but these pieces of land. It's like public lands, and how like Republicans are normally known to make a buck, and liberals are normally known to bitch about just the inequalities. And when I think like a lot of this is my view on liberals, they just want to make everything like equal for everybody, give everybody a chance. And like there's some really nice views on it, but it gets really like dismissed in real life because I mean not everybody's gonna hold hands. So Republicans, even though they get this like money eagering, like hungry people that just want to be rich, it comes back to the core values of religion. And you know, whether you believe in the Bible or not, it's kind of funny. Like everybody always says it's limited in the times, but I mean, like you look at all the cultures like Greece, like the British Empire, like all these great civilizations. I mean, we all know England for their when they had their navy. Greece had their big armies that would conquer all these lands, and even Nazi Germany. I mean, would take over all these places with the use of science and modern technology and roads and new innovations that war brings. So you can almost say war is a necessary evil sometimes. If it wasn't for like that much people dying, they say one theory I heard was, and I'm not trying to promote death, but they said like there'd be overpopulation, or some people say that we would learn to adapt to try to move to space quicker. But everything has a cause and effect. So if you don't have wars, or if you don't have all these things, like it would try to entirely change the world. So um, that's like why war is in the Bible, or like slavery and all these things. But a lot of this stuff's man-made. It's not like God made slavery, or God made all these things that people point out the blame. And it's just man is corrupt. We put someone like a person of power, they're gonna be corrupted. So that's why we're all these conspiracy theories. Like when my dad talks about them and John talks about them, and like I even done like everybody's gone 2 o'clock in the morning and looked up conspiracy videos, or they look up freaking cute puppies, and they end up on how like the moon landing wasn't real. So I mean, it's just funny how you can go from evolving from what you're really into and what you're really after. So be careful what you read on there, and because not everything's like coming from a direct source. Like there are people like me who just sway their opinions and tell it how it is. But I'm not trying to say that what I'm saying is right. I'm just trying to tell you how I feel about a lot of these things, and it is my own personal opinion. I haven't done too much research into pretty much anything. I know a lot about I know a little about a lot of subjects, and instead of one primary subject. I do know a lot about psychology and reading people, and I use that in my everyday life, especially when I'm out in public. I think it's a form of protection, um, self-protection and self-preservation, and with maybe having a chemical imbalance and mental illness, it's helped me protect myself from myself and others. So it's funny, like when people say like I was watching like I came in the living room, and then they were babysitting for my stepsister's kid, and they had a show on, and the kid didn't have glasses, and right now I don't even have my glasses, so I kind of relate to it. I was just watching, I was like, I don't have my glasses, so it's really hard to focus. And but you're like, probably my ears are getting better. It's probably why I'm like wanting to listen to music a lot, because I can probably just hear a little bit better. Because when one of your senses fails, it's funny how the other one will pick up and lift it for it. It's like a balance in life, a yin and yang, and it's funny how we adapt. So like I feel like sometimes I was talking to my brother, and like he couldn't believe that like I didn't want to have kids, or ever, and then I was just like, like even though it's like natural instinct to. I mean, there's nothing wrong with kids. They can be annoying sometimes, but other than that, like I would love to have a son, or teach him how to play sports and stuff like that. But I just don't want to pass my faulty basically gene pool of having mental illness to if he doesn't have it, maybe the next generation will, or maybe by that time they'll have innovations in science and medicine in order to do so. But yeah, it's just funny how you get older, the different stuff you talk about, and how health becomes more important. And so you gotta be grateful that you do have health, and if you have poor health, just be grateful that there's modern sciences out there that were not even there 5, 10 years ago. So so when I had my surgery, I started thinking about like health and like keeping my body more healthy. Um, I'm drinking a way less soda now. I mean, I probably had like 2 sodas this week. Um, I'm drinking a lot more water. I drink a lot more coffee. Really more than when I quit dipping. Just try something with anything else. But I wanna. I got these poetry books, so I was gonna take a look at those and help me with my writing and my rapping. And it's funny. It's like I was talking about paranoia earlier in the video, so I was gonna come full circle with that. Like with this, like I didn't sleep because I was so like scared that like when I say scared, it's like everybody has that kind of feeling when they like let's say smoke or something like, and then kind of get paranoid feeling. But for me, it's just naturally so. Um, my chemical imbalance. So when I I look at things like in patterns because we have a natural pattern seeking source in our brain, and the patterns like of numbers, words, and what people are saying. I find it more often. And that's probably what helped me with becoming good at reading body language. Because there's certain patterns or simple things like well, I don't want to put people in boxes, but you kind of have to make a general assessment. If someone has a gun or a knife, your instinct, is to protect yourself. So you're either gonna run or confront them. And I've been talking about that a lot lately. It's funny how from animal instincts and stuff, and all the knowledge that passed on through on your um, through your genes really correspond to what type of person you're going to be, and maybe what best would suit your job or anything that you like. So, like if you come from a family with paler skin, you're obviously not going to want to live near the ocean where you can get, or you have problems with that. Like if you have if you're kind of heavier, you could probably do better in a you know colder climate. But I mean, I'm fat. I get cold too sometimes, so it's like I'm just saying, it's like you can adapt what your genes are, and like let's say if you lack vitamin D, you might want to be able to work outside. So I know with I've talked with getting an apartment now, and then having Hank, my dad's dog, become my service dog. So every morning, I like here lately, like when I'm down, I've been having a lot of nightmares and stuff, and the medication, being back on the medications, like you have a lot of vivid dreams. So I don't know how much time I got, but basically, like I just play with him and feel a lot better. Uh, and then having that connection, like he's such a needy dog, and I feel like I'm such a needy person. Sometimes I feel like we both can need like use each other company and create happiness. So it's funny because it all connects. It's like we made these like um, dogs and animals and stuff. We bred them, and then they change and they adapt, and like they adapt and then they evolve, and at a rapid rate. And then it's kind of like you got to think like with mixing with races and different people that from part of different areas where people live has helped us with our disease. And like a lot of people like Joe Rogan always I don't know when he thought it, but like in the beginning he thought like people didn't live as the same age that we do now. It is proven that we're living longer, but people always been living older, but it's just with diseases and stuff, and people just lack of I mean, you got to worry about animals coming get your kids and stuff. So um, kids and younger people were dying a lot faster because of medicines. Certain medicines like could, if you had a cold back then, it could kill you. So my dad's going through a cold, so I hope he feels better. But like just the modern like the advancements of medicines, ever evolving of the healthcare, like with health. And I was talking to Tasha, and like I asked her about healthcare, and like we both agree it should be free, but like it's just debatable where that source of income is going to come from. Is it going to come from the taxpayer who's using it? Because everybody's going to get sick and go to the doctor one day. So um, like if you're not thinking about getting healthy, and this is not a New Year's resolution or something, you might want to start. So, because like I've noticed when I take, like my dad said, he notices when, for example, just he takes his vitamins, he feels better. So when your body's getting the nutrients it needs through certain plant-based vegetables or fruits and stuff like that, it just feels better. So I've been trying to eat more vegetables and stuff and try to feel better mentally. Give me more energy. I mean, I look like crap right now. I just kind of stuffed up a little bit and I'm really tired, but I just wanted to make a video. I feel like I've been putting this off, and if I didn't do it now, I probably would keep procrastinating uh, until I did it. So, yeah, thanks for watching the video, guys. I hope you guys learned a little bit what I think about, and just keep growing, guys. So, pick up a book, go to the gym, watch a podcast, make music, listen to music, just explore yourself. So just find out something. That's what I'm kind of doing right now, just exploring what maybe I won't make videos. I think I should, even if I don't make a podcast. But now that I'm getting a microphone from my buddy JT, so shout out to him and it's going to be for raps and stuff. So yeah, I get a lot of positive reinforcement, and I was going to quit, acting like a little bitch, but everybody's like, hey, don't quit, you just do you. So if anybody's offended by these videos, I'm sorry. That was never my intention. It was just to kind of give you guys. Before I saw a therapist, I saw a therapist once, and you're not get cured your first time. I don't think there's ever a cure. It just kind of helps you build tools that can make you a better person. So, yeah, use any tools you have around you. Even just connect with somebody that needs your help, or like an animal that can, like, I know it's gonna really help me be responsible for something, and take a sense of ownership, and I think that'd be very good. So yeah, just excited about life right now. Kind of tired, been having ups and downs with cranky, and I've been put in check by my brother, but it's all love. So thanks, guys. Hope you guys get some rest and have a good day tomorrow. I hope your St. Patty's was safe and fun. Um, and have a good rest of your weekend, whatever. Just have a good time.